welcome to episode 21 of the Zazu podcast. As you might know, my name is Caroline. I'm coming to you from Utrecht, the Netherlands, and this is my podcast about knitting and yarn related things. You can find me on Ravelry as woolbox, on Instagram as wool_box, and you can find my hand-dyed yarns on Etsy, which is Zazu Yarns. We also have a podcast group on Ravelry, which is called the Zazu Podcast Group. So just type that in and you will find it. As you might see, the background changed again. That's because I just can't figure out what the best place is to podcast. I recorded last week and I found out that the sound and the lighting wasn't that great from where I was sitting, which was a little bit weird because I was sitting next to really big windows, as I am right now, but that's the other side of the house. So I just don't know. I don't know if this is better or not. And the issues with the sound, or at least the sound sounding a little bit hollow, must have something to do with the fact that we didn't put everything up on the walls yet, which is why you see the empty wall behind me. So to make sure that it's not going to be a really not so looking good wall behind me, which is the best sentence ever, I put some nice roses next to me. Okay, I don't know if that is doing anything for you guys, but whatever. And I'm out of focus. Yes, I'm there again. I hope the camera is not going to do that the entire time, but I can't actually do anything about it. I have been having a lot of trouble with my computer, even last week. So if you guys have any tips on how to record and upload a podcast, please let me know, because I have a MacBook and I use that with a separate camera, how do you say that? A webcam, which films in HD, so that should be good quality, and also has speakers or other sound things, if you get what I mean. But every time I record, and then I edit in iMovie, it takes hours and hours and hours and hours to export. And at first I exported it as an HD movie because my camera films in HD, but since that even costs like double the time, I now make sure to go down on the quality. But that even takes about 5 or 6 hours to export. And then I have to upload it to YouTube, and for some reason that takes another 2 hours. So that's why podcasting for me is always a bit of a hassle, because it actually takes an entire day before the podcast is up, because now it's in the morning. It's actually 11 in the morning on a Thursday, and I don't know the date, but you will know if you see this back, maybe, I don't know, obviously European time, Amsterdam time, but I don't know how other people do this. So if you have a podcast, A, let me know what podcast it is, because I would like to see, and B, how could I do this without all the hours of waiting and, just all the hassle, because then it would be a lot more fun for me, and it would be a lot more fun for you guys, because then I would actually get a lot more podcasts out there. So if you have tips, let me know. Then a little bit about my week. I've had a pretty good week, apart from the pelvic issue thing, because that's actually gotten worse, so I can't get out of the house anymore, not by myself. And I really have to use the wheelchair. And I'm just checking if I'm not blurry. Well, whatever. In the state I am in, I might as well be blurry, right? So that's a little bit of a bummer, because I actually thought, well, the last few weeks up to giving birth would be a little bit different. You know, a little bit of shopping and, I don't know, having cups of teas with friends in the city, and, you know, doing stuff, which is still doable, but I have to ask Seep to bring me with the car and then drop me off with the super nice wheelchair, and then make sure someone's there to actually push me, because I really can't manage the wheelchair really well. So every time, last Sunday we were in this shop, in the bookshop, and every time I wanted to turn left, I would go right. So I was bumping into everything. And then, okay, I finally figured it out a little bit. But my arms get sore really fast, because I'm just not used to wheeling myself everywhere. So, yeah, that. But apart from that, I had a really nice week, and I had a really nice surprise on Sunday, because my best friend planned the baby shower on Sunday, and I didn't know, so Seep actually lured me out of the house by saying, let's go for breakfast in the center. So we did, and in the meantime, they were putting all these decorations up in our house, and I don't know, letting everyone in, and cake and popcorn and whatever. So when I came back, I was like, what's that thing doing in front of the window? And those bikes, why are they in front of our house, you know? So it was really funny. So everyone was here, and I got surprised. So, and I really didn't expect, or I didn't really suspect anything. While normally when Seep has a surprise or something, I do suspect that something strange is going on. But this time, he pulled it off. I really didn't know, so that was really fun. Then just let's get on to knitting, because that's why you guys are here, and me as well. Wow, great talking again. Bear with me on that. It's just going to, it's at least going to last until I give birth, and from a lot of people I hear that that's at least going to last another year. So maybe you just lost me and you want to unsubscribe. I can't imagine. But if you don't, please stay around. Let's just start. First thing I'm going to show you is Seep sweater. I didn't knit a whole lot on this, but that's also because by now it's almost 400 stitches to go around, so I can't really show you that well, because the needle's actually too short to pull it out. You know, it's all scrunched up. But this is the front, sort of. If I'm correct. Is this the front? No, this is the back. Sorry. This is the back, and that marker is actually where I was last time, so I knit like another 2 centimeters, I guess, something like that. And this is the front. And I'm using 3mm carbons by Knit Pro, which are these. And the yarn I'm using is Drops. And now I have to think, because obviously the ball band is gone. This is actually already the 3rd ball, so this is already over 100 grams, this sweater. So I think it's going to be a heavy one, because I'm sure that I will at least use, well, I think I will at least use 4 or 5 balls before I can divide for the sleeves. So, well, 4 balls, I think. So that's going to be interesting. I think I bought about 16 balls or something, just to be sure, so I think that should be enough. And otherwise I will just order some more. But the yarn is by Drops, and it's Merino Extra Fine in the heather gray color. And it also has a number, but if you look for heather gray, you will find this. And I'm doing this on a needle 3mm, as I said. On the ball band it says 4mm, but I do know that it's pretty squishy yarn and it's superwash. So if I would have knit this on 4mm, I think it would have sagged, if that's the correct word, a lot faster after washing or when wearing it, because the sweater will be pretty heavy, as I said. And as you can see, I'm totally blurred out or whatever because the sun is coming through. So it's nice that the sun is coming through, but it's a little bit, so maybe this isn't the best place either, or not at this moment of the day, because in the morning the sun is there and at the end of the day the sun is there. We'll just have to test some locations or some places in my new house and just try. Oh, and the pattern I'm using for this is, I'm going to check this because I do know that. Anything for Love, that's the pattern, by Justina Lorkowska or something like that. I will put links to these patterns and like these very brief show notes in the Ravelry group. So in the thread for every episode from now on, as I mentioned last week. So you will be able to find those patterns. Then the second one is my featherweight cardigan, which I also showed you last week. This is how far I got. I hope you can kind of see it. I divided for the sleeves already, and I'm working on the body right now. It's a little bit hard to show you the right way. Maybe like this, because the needles are doing funny things. So this is the front, and obviously this is the inside, and the other sleeve, I just put it on some scrap yarn, some acrylic scrap yarn, and this is the back, and it's kind of flipping, but then you can see what I've done, and this is it up close. So you can see that it's well, kind of loose, or how should I say that? I've knitted on 4mm needles, and it's sock yarn, so it will be a little bit more loose. The gauge will be a little bit more loose, but I intend this, or I'm making this to wear in summer after giving birth, or maybe when I finish before, but let's not do all the wishful thinking. But so I think it's okay that it'll be a little bit more airy. That's the word I'm looking for. And the yarn I'm using is my own hand-dyed yarn, which is Zazu yarns in the Roses and Wine colorway, and I really like how it's knitting up. It's a little bit speckly, variegated yarn in all these brown and wine reddish colors, if that's a word. So I actually really enjoy knitting on this, so I think this will get a lot of attention in the next week. Also because I really want a new sweater or a new cardigan to wear. Then the next thing, and the needles I'm using are 4mm Knit Pro needles. It's just the standard metal ones. Knit Pro Novas, I think it is. Then the next whip, and this will surprise you, it actually surprises me, because it's a whip, but it's also a hoe, and it's a new whip and a new hoe. So what have I been doing? I actually knit another sock, which to me is like, what on earth is happening to me? What's going on? Is it the pregnancy? Is it, I don't know. It's weird. It might have something to do with a podcast I'm enjoying lately, which is the Stress Knits podcast by Stacy. And she knits so many socks. It's unbelievable. And she finishes them really quick. And she doesn't have second sock syndrome. And she uses all these nice hand-dyed yarns, and I love that. So it might have something to do with her inspiring me to actually knit more socks or something like that. But also, I think, so check her podcast out if you haven't. It's Stress Knits. But also, as I already mentioned, the heel that I've found, or, well, yeah, works for me, because I don't have to keep track of what I'm doing. I can just knit the heel without having a pattern next to me, which I do need when I'm knitting the Fish Lips Kiss heel. So it's just makes me want to continue, instead of putting the sock aside as soon as I get to the heel, because then I'm like, now it's not potato chippy anymore, and I actually have to pay attention. But I don't have to do that. Don't really have to do it. Obviously, I have to pay attention, because if I don't pay attention, then in the state I'm in with all the weird pregnancy forgetfulness things, there's not going to be a sock. That's something really other weird thing. Okay, let's stop talking. What was I saying? I don't know anymore. But I knit the sock. I use this yarn, And I actually forgot to bring the other, because I do have another skein of this yarn. So I'm going to make sure I have that next week. But it's pretty cool yarn because it's supposed to pool, which it does, as you can see. And I actually really like this weird thing going on. So over here, when I started the sock, it wasn't doing anything. So I was like, oh, should I cast on less or more stitches or whatever? But when you continue knitting, then this weird thing happens to the yarn. You can see it here. Am I doing this right? Yes. So it makes this weird, I don't know how you call this. It reminds me of space. I don't know why. And then it goes back into this stripy thing, and then it pulls really weird here. And then actually another one of those things that look like this happens in the toe. And I should have knitted more rows on the leg, so this one would be more visible on the foot and would be higher on the foot, because I actually had I had a pretty big amount of yarn left. But I didn't knit them toe up, which you actually should do, I think, with yarn like this. But I just don't like toe up. And I'm like, I'm just getting myself to the point where I'm actually knitting socks and finishing the second sock. So let's not get too, let's not make it harder on myself than it is, or could be. I don't know. But I really like the sock. And this is, if you can see the yarn. It's a little bit darker on screen than it is in real life. That's better, I think. And obviously, I already cast on the second sock, which I didn't knit on a lot, as you can see, because this is all I have. A few rows of the 1x1 twisted rib. And the fun part about this yarn is you actually get it in, well, I don't know how to say that. It's some sort of skein, and there are 2 threads on the skein. So what they did with this yarn is they dyed 2 times 50 grams the exact same way. I don't know how they do that, really, but what you do, you can't knit from the skein immediately, unless maybe you would, if you would knit 2 at a time socks, then maybe you could. But you wind off 2 balls from that skein, and then you should have 2 exact same balls. So if I'm correct, and I knit exactly as many rows on the cuff and the leg and the foot and whatever, if I do exactly the same thing on this sock that I did on this sock, then they should come out exactly the same. That's the idea, or almost exactly the same. So we'll see. I'm really curious to see that. And I do have another one of those skeins somewhere in my stash with pink and orange, I think. So I will try and remember to bring that next week so you can see what it looks like, and well, you know what kind of yarn it is. I do know it's from Germany, but that's the only thing I know. So I have to tell you that next time. The needles I'm using are 2.5 millimeters fixed circulars by Knit Pro. Also the Nova ones, the simple metal ones. So those were my whips. Then I have a really tiny finished object, which I think is pretty cute, because I made a little bluebird of happiness. And it's actually pretty funny because I showed this to someone from my knitting group and she said, oh, it looks like it has a necklace on and pants on, and it put some lipstick on its mouth, which is pure accidental, or because this was just self-striping stock yarn. And it just knit up this way. So I didn't intend to do this by any means. So, and it just changed color before I bound off at the end. So it really has a nose or whatever. But that's the first one for the nursery. So I do have to make some more. In the pattern, it's a free pattern, and it's called Bluebird of Happiness, which is also linked in the show notes. It says to use DPNs. I use DPNs, but since you have a really tiny amount of stitches, especially on this part and this part, my needles kept falling out, and then I had to read back. So then I thought, let's just use the 2.5 millimeter circulars I use for socks. And that actually went pretty well, so that's what I'm going to do from now on, because it just worked a lot better. It's just simple. It was a little bit fiddly with sock yarn because the pattern actually says to use, well, bigger yarn. What did it say? It said, I don't know, I think it said to use 4 or 5 millimeter needles, so bigger yarn. I can't think of the name of the type of yarn anymore because I don't have my words anymore. So I think that if you want to knit this for the first time, use bigger yarn, and then you can just, you know, test out the pattern, get used to what you have to do, and then go to smaller yarn. So I think the next one I'm knitting will be a little bit bigger, maybe. We'll see. But it's a nice project to do just in between other things because you can finish one really fast. Obviously, as you can see, I still have to stuff it, so that's why the things are still on. But I couldn't find my stuffing stuff. So I think, along with some other yarn, secretly stashed that in the attic. So I'm going to have to get up there someday. Although I'm not really an attic fan because I don't like the steep stairs and I don't like the idea that there might be spiders, which is an entire other thing. But like a month ago, we had such a big spider in our bathroom and I totally freaked out. I actually made a video of that, which I might show you once, but it was huge. It was huge, really. I couldn't sleep after that. Yikes. That's all I can say. Yikes. Then, those were all my whips and my tiny FO. I have some acquisition things because I have been a pretty bad girl. So before I'm going to show you this, do not tell my boyfriend, okay? I secretly hid it and he didn't find out yet. So, I do have to remember to put it back after recording this, because otherwise he will find it, and then I'm gonna be in trouble. The first thing I bought, which he knows about, but it's not yarn, so I can do that, is a book by Arnie and Carlos, which you will probably also know from their sock yarn. And this is a book about knitting flippers. You can see some, and they are all felted and a little bit in the old, how do you say that? Not old. In the Swedish, I think it's Swedish style. So I did find a few really cute. I thought these were really, really cute for Christmas. And what else? I do really like the ones with the high cuffs, or how do you say that? You have 3 models in this book, which are the low ones, and then the ankle ones, and then more the, I don't know how you say that, boot style ones. So a little bit higher up your leg. I'm trying to find something. I thought these were really cute as well, with beads on them here. And there was one other one that I really liked. But obviously you can do whatever you want with these. I really like these as well. And these are the high ones, obviously. And I really like that. So I'm not going to knit them right now because obviously we're going into summer. But I do really like these. I don't know. I like these kinds of slippers because they're really thick, and I don't know. Normally when you see these patterns for slippers, they're more like really loose socks or something. They're really, the gauge is much looser, or I don't know how to explain it, but I really like the stiff ones that are more like real, you know, you know what I mean. I know for sure. And the fun thing was, it was half the normal price. So normally this is 20 euros and now it was 10. So I thought I'm going to take this with me. Then the thing that is going to give Seep a heart attack if he sees it. So I'm not going to show him, and neither is one of you guys, because you don't do that. It's, you know, it's something it's an unwritten rule between knitters that you just don't do stuff like that. So there was a drops sale again, and as I told you, I can't really get out of the house by myself anymore. So what do you do to feel better? You go shopping. And what do you do if you really want to feel better? You go shopping for yarn. So that's what I did, obviously. So the first thing I bought was this Drops Cotton Merino yarn in a natural color. Why? Because, and I bought 6 balls. Then I always have to get myself enough. Why? If you dye this, and I did this before, if you dye this, only the merino, it's a blend of cotton and merino, 50% merino and 50% cotton. And if you dye this, the cotton will not be dyed, if that's the way you get what I'm saying. So the only thing that will catch the color from the dye is the merino, which gives a really cute effect. And obviously I didn't bring you the hat downstairs that I knit out of the wineskin that I dyed a long time ago. But I will try to do that next week. I will try to remember. But it really gives a nice effect, and I thought it would be nice to knit some baby things out and maybe a hat for myself. So I thought, let's just get 6 balls and experiment a little. The last thing I dyed with this yarn was a little bit red, burgundy red, I'd say, with the white thread in it. So it actually looks like you've plied a white and a colored thread together, which is, I think it's a cute effect. And you don't have to actually ply it, you just dye it and use it. Then I bought, and I actually wish I bought more, but it's good that I didn't. I bought 2 balls of drops alpaca in this colorway, and it's a mixed colorway, as you can see. So you can see some blues and some reddish tones, and this is 100% alpaca, if I'm right. Yes, and it's really soft, and I really like this color. And then I bought another 2 balls of that in this colorway, and maybe you can see here that it's also a mixed colorway, but you can't really see it that well, maybe, I don't know. Also 2 balls, and in this colorway, which I really liked as well. And I think those 3 colorways look really good together. So I will do it like this. Oh. See? It's a shame that this one's not coming out. Yeah, something like that. So I don't know what I want to do with this yet, but I'm thinking, because it's 300 grams, so either a really big striped, how do you say that? It's not a shawl, but a wrap, or a thin cardigan thing that would also be striped. But I think I'm going for the wrap. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. So that's the next, or the second type of yarn, also 6 balls. So we already bought 12 balls. And then, obviously, because whenever there's a sale, you just buy whatever you always wanted. Actually a little bit much. I bought baby alpaca silk, which I've always wanted to try. So I bought it in this colorway, which is a light gray, color number 8108. Oh, and I didn't mention the other color numbers. I will do that really fast. So this one is color 6736. This one is color 3969, and the light one is color 8120. So back to the alpaca silk. stuff. This is 8108, so it's a light gray. And I bought 4 balls of it, and it's really, really soft. And I really wanted to test this, or try this once, because alpaca and silk together can't be anything else than super soft, right? So I really wanted to do that. And then I bought red, because I never buy red. So I thought, why not? Just do it. So this is color 3609, and it's totally not doing anything with this sweater, but that's okay. I also bought 4 balls of that. And then I bought this cute blue. It's a greenish blue, or what did it say? Ocean green or ocean blue, something like that. The number is 7402. And I bought 2 balls of that, 2 skeins of that. And then I bought 2 balls in white, or in creamy white, I think it is, which is color 1101. 2. And I thought these could be paired together for something, maybe, or just these 2 for something for the baby. I just don't know yet. And what I really liked was these 2 together in something stripy. And maybe I can show you the effect if I just stack a few on top of each other. But I really like that. I think it looks cool. It looks good. So I also bought that. So I actually bought a lot of yarn. I'm using this bag by Stephen and Penelope to put it all in and just, throw it somewhere behind in the back of my closet, and just make sure that Steve doesn't see. And if I put all the yarn in, the bag's actually super full. Oh, there goes my bird. So I'm going to have to make some mini stashes out of this and put them all over the place, so he will not find this, because as you can see, it's totally filled. But that'll be okay. We'll be fine. Then the only thing that's left for me to say is that I was a little bit stupid last week, as I am almost every week, because I promised you a shop update, and I told you that the shop would be updated by the end of the week, and then I had some computer problems and some camera problems and some, all these technical things. Whenever I looked at some kind of device, the device would just stop working. So, as is normal in this house, and whenever Steve comes home, it magically works again. I don't know why that is, but it is the way it is. But right now, I already prepared everything to update the shop, so I only have to put everything online. So I know that there is just going to be almost no chance at all that this is going to fail. So when you see this, the shop will be updated, actually. Hey, hooray! So, small reminder, what will be in the shop is some seashell, some roses and wine, which you saw knitted up in my featherweight cardigan, colorways. The first one being Roberto Gelato, which is in German, in English, Roberto's ice cream, because it reminds me of the ice cream we always get at Roberto's. And Moroccan Mint, for obvious reasons, which is a minty green color with all these different shades of mint green. So those will be in the shop next to some other colorways, and I'd say just check it out. So that's actually everything I wanted to talk about. I do want to ask you the question about the computer stuff, if maybe someone's just better with iMovie and all those things and has some good tips. And B, what would you like to see on the podcast? So last week I asked you about the nursery, but there was actually only 1 or 2 persons that told me they wanted to see it. So if you don't want to see it, that's okay. But maybe you would like to see some other stuff. I don't know, just random suggestions or things you're curious about, or I don't know. Please just tell me, because then I will do that as well. And I got blurry again, which is fine because my face is not in the mood for really sharp things. Yes. Okay. So I will leave you and wish you a really nice week, and I hope I will see you next week. Bye.